I know people have mixed feelings about TikTok, and I have softened my position on it a little bit more because I realize that all I see are like the unhinged lunatics that libs of TikTok posts or whatever. And I know we talked a little bit about this Monday, but there's a new report now. TikTok has revealed they are planning a full and complete shutdown on Sunday. This is different than yesterday, where Hannah Claire had to be a woman and fact check me live in front of all my boys and say that you couldn't download it. I wrote it down in my little book that you couldn't download it. Yeah, the previous rule was that you couldn't download it anymore, but you could still use it. TikTok has actually doubled down now and said, no, we're shutting down completely. This I talked about. I said there was at least some percentage chance that TikTok is going to say, we're not selling because our proprietary information is too important. We can't sell out to the American people. So now that they have come out and said, hey, we're shutting down the app entirely. Now, I'm going to ask for your reactions. I'll start with Hannah Claire, then I'll go to Sticks. But really think about it from like, everybody's already migrating to Red Note, which is actually worse. Their terms of service actually requires that you support socialism and that you display patriotism for China, which is hilarious. But do you, I mean, it's shutting down. So if it shuts down, if the only alternative if they're not going to sell to an American buyer, do you still think, I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but do you still think that TikTok going away, disappearing on Sunday is a net positive?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I knew you. Yeah.
I mean, look, I get that I'm a Luddite. I'm a boomer. I don't understand your kids and your TikTok. But do you remember, and this must have been early 2022, no, 2023, when all of those states were issuing their TikTok bans. And it would be like, Nebraska was the first one. They had done it a couple years before, but South Dakota did it. It ended up being something like 25. There were a couple, 3 or 4 Democratic governors that issued it. And they were saying you cannot open TikTok on a government issued device because TikTok's terms of service means that it scans every tab that you have open and it can access any kind of private data, which means that if you're like working at the DMV and you open TikTok on your government issued tablet, you are now risking all of these citizens' private data. I can only assume that's true of someone who, I don't know, works for a health insurance company or works for anything else. And some of the state issued bans, they would call them TikTok bans, but in the language it would ban, is it WeChat and some of the other, there were other companies that it specifically spelled out. And I want the TikTok ban to be like that. I want Red State to go. I want all of this to go. And I said it yesterday. I think ultimately there are enough alternatives that are not China-based on the market that people who want to do short-form content have an outlet. It's not like it's like this is the one and only thing and we're banning it as something. And ultimately, we have to be more proactive about about China's encroaching influence in America. I also think China shouldn't be allowed to buy farmland. I mean, I don't know that it's that much of a loss if TikTok leaves, because I think national security is more important than that. I think the fact that people are migrating to something else Chinese that's even worse is stupid. But, I'm open to another ban, an expansion of all of these things, because we just have to be more proactive about it. I don't understand why we can freak out about Russia and issue all kinds of oil sanctions there, but then be like, yeah, kids, get on the Chinese controlled app. That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. What do you think, Sticks?
I do not support banning TikTok. I think that people should simply be dissuaded from using it. I do realize that it's harvesting information, and that's basically the only friggin' purpose, and it definitely shouldn't be on government or medical devices and things like that. But I'm just uncomfortable with the U.S. government having the power to unilaterally ban even a foreign subsidiary when it is also technically a U.S. firm, and prevent citizens from being able to use that. I think it sets a dangerous precedent. That being said, am I going to weep very much over TikTok dying? No, of course not. 90% of the stuff on that site, which I've never signed up for and never would put on my phone or anything like that, is cringe as hell.
Yeah,
It's people dancing around with random captions to shitty music and stuff like that, or it's, somebody, braiding their cat's hair or something like that.
Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I think we'd all like to watch cat hair get braided.
Look, and you could do that on Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts,
Instagram's no better. That's the other thing I wanted to say. Facebook and Meta in general and other companies have been harvesting data and selling it to the Chinese for years and years anyway.
Right.
Facebook got in trouble for that. They were bundling the data. The only thing was it was semi-anonymized, but they were still selling the same kind of data that TikTok gathers up anyway. The only difference is that you've cut out the middleman. And that's why I think they're doing this, because they're not making any money on it because the data gathering is direct.
Yeah, in general,
I still think Meta and all of the US companies that sell data are more likely to be reined in by the US government than they are by the Chinese government. I mean, I think the fact that there is any kind of middleman is an important difference. But I agree with Sticks. It is a concern when the government's allowed to ban things. And
the difference is I'm more with Sticks here in the battle of who has better hair. But I will say
Hannah Claire has better hair than me.
I would agree.
I don't like this haircut anymore. I think Sticks' hair is better.
I like it. It looked great yesterday. That was the best I've seen your hair look on the show, but I don't compliment other women very often.
No, this is objective. It's just No, I like Sticks'.
Mine's getting all floofy because of the winter dry weather,
Yeah, it is dry out there.
Because you use the most harsh product.
Yeah, you wash your hair with baking powder and peroxide. That's why. I don't have a problem with the ban, but my base position is what Sticks is too. I don't think the government should ban anything. That said, TikTok blew it. They had multiple opportunities to stop sending information back to China, and they continued to do it. So in that case, I have to support the ban. I wish they hadn't, but to all these small businesses and all, 99% of TikTok creators are not these weirdo woke people. They're just normies. So people are selling their cupcakes or their whatever, their fishing lures. And to lose all of that e-commerce to me sucks. Is there a place where they will go? Yes, there has always been a place they will go. All of the original Viners went to YouTube and were very popular for a long time. TikTokers will go somewhere else too. But I wish if TikTok had not, continued to say, hey, we're gonna do whatever we want. I do whatever I want, and send their data back to China. If they had actually, followed the rules, I would be more vehemently against their ban. But they blew it. They're the ones that couldn't stop breaking the law, and so now everyone's going to be mad. Also, practically, from a practical perspective, I don't think it's likely that TikTok will just disappear. I think that, but again, there is that percentage chance. We'll just shut down thing. That's a negotiating tactic. That's them saying, well, we don't care. We won't be bought. That's just them saying, we want to get the highest dollar. There's no way that they just close it down. Like I said, that's like a 1% to 2% chance.
Do you think they're doing it so that the public will panic and be like, well, I thought you said I could still use it. I just couldn't download, new people can't download it.
Right.
It's the fact that now it could be completely gone, and they want the Americans to start panicking so that the government changes its mind. That's my take on it.
They want all of the tweens and teens that use the platform to whine and cry to their parents and say, please, can you call our senator? Tell
That's
the governor
100% correct.
he's got to save TikTok. Oh my God, how am I going to get my cat braiding videos?
Yeah. Well, apparently they're on Instagram, according to Hannah Claire. But that, like, that is, like, that's the truth of it. Like, they want everyone to panic to maximize the price. So I think they will probably still be around. But it also, as based Hannah Claire says, they don't let us do business there, so frick them, kind of thing. Like, they don't use YouTube there. They don't use Instagram there. They don't use Facebook there. They don't use, I'm trying to think of a useful app, but I can't. So, like,
they're really restrictive on car imports. Like, it's not just tech stuff. Like, it's consumer products too that China doesn't play ball with. But yet we buy tons of stuff from China and we import tech that they run all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly it. I mean, I think that I'm not gonna go ahead.
I was gonna say I would agree with Sis. I mean, ideally, you would be able to dissuade people from using this in a logical way. I just don't think that people will be dissuaded. I think that they are willing to turn a blind eye to it because they can't see what's at stake.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's also a time waster when you think about it. Like, the whole smartphone and shorts thing, which didn't originate with TikTok, but definitely is helped popularized by it, is just such a massive time waster. Like, you'll see kids, I mean, people, you go to a restaurant, everyone's on their phones. They're taking pictures of the food, but they're not eating the food.
That's a pet peeve.
And they're having a conversation with, I hate it. They're having a conversation with somebody 1,000 miles away, and you're like, hello, I'm literally right here.
I ban them at dinners. And, like, even my father-in-law, who listens to the show, is on his phone more than I am. And, like,
boomers are the worst.
Yeah,
boomers
my mom,
get totally
he's
addicted.
on his phone all the time. Bob.
My mom is probably watching this live stream right now. By the way, hi mom.
My mom's
too. Hi mom. She definitely hi mom. Yeah. But very, very high. Yeah. But she uses her smartphone like 10 times as much as I do. I use it to make phone calls and to get confirmation codes. And sometimes I use Twitter. That's basically it.
Yeah, I think that, like, I'm not against it. What really got my goat was when they started ruining concerts for me. A lot of people don't know this, but, like, I was in a band for a long time in my life. Music is a big part of my life. I go to a lot of concerts. Once all I started seeing was this, like, from everybody in the crowd, I was like, I'm out. I'm not paying for, I can't. Like, live in the moment, man. Like, enjoy the show.
You don't have to share literally else? You don't have to share literally every aspect of your life. The worst thing, though,
take a picture.
The worst thing, though, is when people habitually post their kids online. It's like, no. It's creepy. It's unsafe. There are people online that are into weird shit, and you're basically here's a picture of my daughter's feet. Aren't they so cute?
Remember, they had all those people going around on YouTube where, like, the creeps were tagging timestamps and, like, family videos.
Yeah, YouTube banned comments on any of, like, family child content for channels. It took like over a year for them to get reinstated for most channels.